Hey guys, how you doing? I hope you're having a good day, and if not, I hope I can make it a little better. So every April the 8th is International Romany Day. As a half Romani, I like to celebrate it and share it with you guys here on YouTube so that you can ask any questions and just sort of dispel any myths you might have about Romanis or Romani culture. I'm not the foremost expert as I am a settled Romani. That means I live in a house, but I'll do my best. A couple of years ago, to celebrate, I made this picture, inspired by the Romani folk story, The Dog and the Maiden, and I thought, wouldn't it be fun if I had a go at redrawing it to celebrate this year? Let's get going. I want to use my Copic markers this year, so I've got special marker paper. It's extra smooth so that the ink, alcohol ink in particular, will go down nice and smoothly. And even though it's like super thin, the ink doesn't bleed through. So I really recommend marker paper if you really like using alcohol markers. And to sketch with, I'm going to use the Helix Oxford erasable colouring pencils. This time, I think I'm going to use the brown one. You can use whatever colour you like for sketching. Don't let me boss you around on that. And yes, if you have any questions about what it's like being a Romani, a half Romani, Romani culture, Romani history, please feel free to pop your questions in the comment section below. Okay, I'm just going to get drawing. I go into a lot of detail in my original video where I draw the dog and the maiden about the history of Romanis, so if you're at all curious about that, I will link it above and also in the description box below. I cover how we originated in North India around 600 to 700 years ago and just sort of went on our merry way across Europe. My dad's family in particular was happy to settle in Germany, but then some little dude from Austria with a weird moustache came along and had different ideas, so they fled and settled in the United Kingdom. My dad decided that he wanted to be a true settled Romani, which once again means he went from living in a vardo, which is a caravan, to living in a brick and mortar house. And he also decided he wanted to marry a local, the result of which was me, so thank you! The story, The Dog and the Maiden, comes from a collection of Romani folk stories called The Red King and the Witch, subtitle Gypsy Folk and Fairy Tales, compiled by Ruth Manning-Sanders, and was printed by the Oxford University Press in 1964, which is probably the reason why it's called Gypsy folklore rather than Romani. And I do mention this in the first video, but I'll say now, we don't really like the word gypsy. It was a word that was given to us by white people, especially British people, who thought we came from Egypt. Gypsy, Egypt. So yes, if you could call us Romani, that would be great. And it's just Romanis who are called Romanis or Gypsy. Irish travellers or any other kind of traveller, they're just travellers. They're not Gypsies or Romanis, but I explained that in the other video. But if you do hear a Romani refer to themselves as a Gypsy, don't correct them. It's kind of like how Native Americans sometimes still refer to themselves as Indians. It's just like a cultural thing. If you grew up referring to yourself as a certain way, then it's just what you're used to. For instance, my pen pal is Native American, and I'm not going to correct him when he refers to himself as an Indian. I really recommend this book if you're curious about learning more about Romani folklore. However, it is a first and only edition, so it might be a little bit hard to find if you live outside of the United Kingdom. I am also curious to know if there are any other books on Romani folklore out there, because I would love to read some more, especially if there are any that are written by actual Romanis. That would be really cool. So if you do know any, please drop them in the comment section below. I think I'm happy with this sketch. Normally at this point, oh wait, I've just seen the leg. I'll correct the legs. I've just seen this leg here. I don't like that from standing up. Okay, I'll correct the leg. And then normally at this stage, I would ink the lines first. But I think I might go in with the alcohol markers first this time, because I think I might like to do a softer pencil outline. Because sometimes ink outlines can feel a little bit harsh, even if you use coloured lines, which is what I prefer to do rather than black. So yes, I'm going to correct this leg. And then I think I'm going to go in with the alcohol markers. So wish me luck. And here I am going in with the skin first. And I have to admit, it always feels a bit weird when I draw a Romani character with dark skin and dark hair, because as well as being mixed race, I have albinism. So like, I'm super pale. And though I grew up with all the Romanis around me having tan skin and almost black hair, when I look at myself in the mirror and see myself as a Romani, I see a blonde pale person. But I know if I drew a blonde pale person as a Romani, people, mostly non-Romanis, would be up in arms that I'm not drawing Romanis properly. So it always feels like a catch-22. Do I draw somebody who represents me? Or do I draw somebody who represents the more stereotypical or classic image of a Romani? This time, I decided to go with what most Romanis do look like. However, maybe next time when I redraw this picture, I might maybe do a modern interpretation, modern clothing, or maybe draw myself. Let me know what you think. Oh, and if you are curious about what the maiden is wearing in this picture, it is traditional Romani clothing, and I do mention in the original video what each aspect of the clothing represents, from her headscarf to her bangles. So do check that out if you are curious to know the symbolism behind everything. I found it kind of interesting myself. Okay, I think I'm happy with that ink-wise. It feels like it's still in the ugly stage, especially here. Whoops. So, next I think I'm going to go in with pencil, do the lines, and maybe do some subtler shading in areas. Let me find them. Yep. I'm going to use these. These are my favourite. They're Posca pencils, which are made by the exact same people who make Posca pens, but they're pencils. And from what I can remember, they're oil-based, if you're curious. I'm going in with Posca paint pens this time. Yes, I've used the pencils and now I'm using the paint pens. No, I don't work for Posca. No, I am not sponsored by Posca, but please, I wish I was. Hello, Posca. Yes, I'm going in with Posca paint pens to add the decoration to her dress. And here we have it, my finished Copic marker and Posca pencil illustration of the dog and the maiden. What do you think? You know, it's a bit weird. I'm finding Copic markers harder to use than a hoo-hoos. Maybe it's the paper, I don't know. Maybe I should try in my sketch pad and see if it's any different. Let me know if that's something you'd like to see, how pens react differently to different types of paper. Anyway, thank you for making it to the end of the video with me. I'd love to know what your favourite part was. If you could leave a comment in the comment section below. If you could like, subscribe, turn on all notifications and share this video, that would be amazing. You can follow me at Enchanted Violin on Instagram, TikTok and Threads. Links will be in the description box below, as well as links to my online comic companions and my Patreon. And I'll see you next time for more. Have a good International Romany Day. Bye.